it on.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm going to bug you all about, we're all here. I appreciate it. All here for a good reason. Very cool. So, anyways, let me talk about auto malls for a second. I'm here to say that we do not need new auto malls. In my view, within the next 10 to 20 years, more and more manufacturers will be adopting the Amazon model of distribution and shipping, where the vehicles are purchased online, then delivered directly to the customer. Also, it's extremely difficult to compete with the legacy auto malls and dealerships in the area, such as Riverside Auto Center, Ontario Auto Center, Coachella Valley dealerships, Redlands, and Merino Valley. Given that auto purchases are done only once every couple of years, it's not like going to the local market where you need close, frequent proximity. Buyers are willing to travel 30 to 45 minutes to shop for their next big ticket SUV or truck. Why waste millions of dollars in our dwindling remaining open space on an outmoded capital improvement? I know that traditionally auto malls were considered a sales tax cash cow, but that tax revenue source is becoming harder to chase, and it's harder to chase after with the advent of online commerce. Even though I loathe them, and you know I do, distribution centers in our city are becoming a new potential source of sales tax revenue. A few years ago, the city council tried a sales tax revenue sharing formula with Wolverine, which failed because Wolverine would not accept the terms. But don't give up. The city needs to work with our state legislatures, okay, to bring more logistics-based sales tax revenue back home. Hang in there. Send those letters to the state. I appreciate it. The answer might be a formula involving a point of storage tax. So I'm offering an idea. The best idea wins, of course, so there's one for you. So point of storage tax. Also, here's my sleeper here. The taxation of airlines touching down at airports might be a comparable tax model to draw from. So if you look into how they do that, there's a really interesting parallel. Finally, okay, finally, the city needs to keep pressuring distributors to open retail outlets at our Beaumont warehouse locations. I can't wait to get my next pair of Vosk boots from the Wolverine warehouse store. They're really good quality. Made in Spain, I think. Okay, no, they're made in Minnesota. All right. Finally, okay, I swear this is it. The city must be ultra selective in who it allows to build within our city limits. The ship has already sailed for the REI, which I would love to have had here, who built a Southwest distribution center in the Phoenix area. Oh well. Okay. Also, we need to reach out much more to manufacturers rather than logistics warehouses. And then next time, I'd like to bug you again about how we can bring the world of glass to Beaumont. So the glass world. It's really cool. Thank you so much. Okay, enjoy your meeting. Alrighty.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Roy.
Glass,
Thank
Ron.
you so much. With that?
What kind of glass?
Okay, so we have artisan glass.
Okay, so not like automotive glass.
No. And this would be glass manufacturers I've been stalking without guilt or shame, glass manufacturers in the area. Now, there's a huge one in LA, and they're not listening. I hope they don't see this. But they got this massive glass. It's a West Coast distributor, and it's custom glass for big commercial projects. You know, like we have those big custom homes out there in the desert with millions of dollars of glass. And then in OC, you know, you got the new malls coming in, and everybody wants a glass window idea. So it'd be that kind of commercial glass, and I think it would dovetail in with artisan glass. There is no artisan glass to find. I'm telling you, I've been Toronto landscape. There's nothing there. I did touch base with and appreciate the input from Beaumont Unified School District about developing a vocational arts program, and I guess you're going to be building some kilns and this sort of that's been talked about.
Okay.
Okay, you didn't hear that. Okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
We talked about, I remember you talking about the glass.
Yeah, okay, so the other part of the glass, okay, so, you know, like you can get the kids involved in, then you have your shows, you know, like Beaumont Arts Fair, and we can get our artisan glass there, like, you know, for glassware and all that. Way too much information. Okay, the final one, this is way out there. It's really bizarre, but you know, in the universities, the laboratory glass is really hard to get. It's all custom. 99% is custom made. And so like in Caltech, for example, they actually had their own glass blower who was there for like 50 years, and he literally like became old. He was like 90 years old, so he had to retire. So way too much information. But I see that we have an opportunity with maybe our local, as far as, we're talking about economic development, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to keep my eye on the ball here. So if we could get more vocational arts with the idea of glass and maybe partner with a community college, then we can have art fairs and people can, like Palm Springs and stuff like that. So I see manufacturing in terms of customized, large-scale glass manufacturers, and LA has them. Then number 2 would be artisan glass, and then number 3 would be the idea of highly specialized laboratory glass for like UCR and Redlands and all the Southern California colleges. And that's a wrap. Way too much time, okay? So anyways, have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Mr. Roy.
All right, take care.
Well, we're getting close.
Getting close. One of the items I wanted to go over was the discussion regarding the vacancy, because I have someone to fill that, but we can't vote on it, so
Right.
I'll need to bring that back to the next meeting, and then if we can vote on it then we'll recommend that individual to council.
Okay. We can do that.
As a I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I mentioned too, I sent out some emails trying to get a student from Beaumont High School as well. We talked about getting a junior, so they would follow the rest of this year and continue on next. Is there any particular direction that you guys are looking for, or just someone that would be interested as a good?
Once you let us know who it is, I'll bring that at this meeting, then at the next subsequent city council meeting, I'll just ask for their approval to appoint them, him or her.
Thank you. Okay, well, we do not have a quorum at this point, and it's a little bit early. Kyle, do you want to just provide us an update of things that are going on that we need to know about? And
Yeah, I
then,
can do a quick one. I'll probably just not go into some of the main items that were on the agenda because I'd rather
sure,
wait for the entire committee so that
that's fine.
Todd's not doing the presentation twice in a row.
No, that's fine. Just in general, what do we have going on? And
Yeah, so we're working on some of the commercial stuff. We're working with an auto dealer, but it's not an auto mall per se.
okay,
Now, it's interesting the speaker talked about it because we, as you know, as a council member, we don't have an active program where we're out there attracting businesses. We do that a little bit in partnership with our landowners.
Mhm.
So when they're developing a shopping center, they're gonna call us. The economic development department that I work in calls certain businesses, but we're not out there calling Ford or Chevy or things like that to try to attract them here. So this one's one that's found a location, and is going through the process. They may never finish the process because
Okay.
not everyone we talk to builds.
right,
But it's not something that we're actively pursuing. But at the same time, I think that some of the stuff that Ron mentioned is valid. We don't know necessarily where the auto industry is going to go. But from staff's perspective, if they're interested in applying, going through our process, and it's a permitted use within the zoning area that it's in, we're not going to stop them because
Right.
people may not be buying cars 15 or 20 years from now.
right,
And the manufacturers of these things know very well where these proposed dealerships are going. So there's a reason that they're looking here and elsewhere. So
Right.
we're not one of the ones, we're not the people that are going to say no when things like that come in.
and some of those online places, I mean, they actually go to a place to pick up their vehicle.
And you're still gonna, I would never buy a car without test driving it. You still need
Oh,
to
yeah,
test
you wanna
drive
touch it,
and-
yeah.
and- Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And you have a return policy, and then you have mechanics release.
Yep.
Yeah.
May not be as big of a lot, because they might
Right.
have to do some shipping, but you still
Yeah.
have, so here's the, being a test driver, a little more
Exactly.
hybrid of a model.
So I think if we were to land one or two or so, those will probably morph or evolve over time versus closing, is my suspicion on the industry. I mean, we kind of saw what Tesla just did
Yeah.
within the last couple weeks or so. If you've been watching that, they announced they're going to just shut down all their showrooms, and then very quickly they reversed course and said, actually, we're going to keep them open.
Right.
So they thought they were, I don't know, what, above the curve in terms of what people were going to do, and they realized very quickly that their buyers wanted to go see the things or go to a showroom for a purchase of 30 to 100 something thousand dollars.
Yeah. And even that is, it was the first time I'd ever seen a dealer, auto dealer inside of a
In a mall.
mall.
Yeah.
Right? And you can't drive the car off the lot, you've still got to order it, but you still want to be able to touch it, sit in it, and
Yep.
push the buttons and,
Yeah, I'm sure they could schedule a test drive for you at your house if you wanted to, right? Like that's maybe where it goes, but it's an interesting concept.
and I saw something on Walmart is, a lot of their prices are not as competitive as Amazon is. And I think once you start seeing that, like for me, I'd like to go, I don't like ordering clothes online. I like to go try them on and see how they look and
Yeah.
and send them back and they don't fit but so it's just for me, it's going in and touching it and being able to purchase it at a reasonable price or a competitive price.
Exactly. Yeah, Walmart's posting good numbers, Costco posting good numbers in retail, and then Target's numbers for the last quarter were really good. And Target was attributing that to their change on the inside of the stores. So they've done what I would say maybe is the opposite of Toys R Us, where they started to invest in the aesthetics of the inside of the store or the customer experience that Toys R Us didn't do.
Right.
And I don't think Sears is doing very well either.
No.
So you can kind of see that when you walk into a Target. And for whatever reason, if you go in there for like one thing, you never walk out with one thing. I don't know how they do that. Swear every time. Yeah, you go
I
in
thought-
for one item. And,
I thought they were revamping their model too by going with smaller targets as well.
yeah, so that's probably a new concept. Is we may not see the same super targets moving forward. Like I mentioned before the meeting, there's information that Kohl's is partnering with Planet Fitness, in which Kohl's is downsizing facilities and then subleasing component parts of those buildings to Planet Fitness. They felt that was a compatible use. So if they brought more people into the Planet Fitness, then more people may just go shop afterwards at Kohl's. So it increases their foot traffic, they downsize their building, and they get a renter, right? It's almost,
That way when they try on clothes, they're all sweaty, then you.
yeah, that
Put
could
it back
too,
on the rack
yeah.
and they got it on. I got it.
Yeah.
Do you know, or have you heard of any activity going on the west end of town? Seems like right now all the activity's on the east end.
Yeah, Christina, the community development director, and myself have been meeting with a couple people out on that side. One's in the process for another gas station,
Okay.
hopefully to compete with the Chevron. If anyone
That is
fills up
funny,
at
though,
the
'cause-
Chevron, they're a little bit higher than anyone
Tony?
else because of lack of competition. So now it'll be funny if it's the same people.
That's what I'm thinking. He's
Yeah.
going to be competing against him.
So there's a couple people looking in that area. One's the same owner of the Chevron, and then one's, I think, a competing owner.
Okay.
So once again, we don't necessarily get to pick and choose on
Sure.
what uses go in or who the landowners are. You could have healthy competition, or you can have another gas station that's owned by the same individual group. That's just how the free market economy works. So, yeah, we're not necessarily in a position where we're able to legally tell people no or to focus on other things.
Is the car wash close to opening yet, or? do we know?
They are open, and I think they're doing free car washes for a month.
It was packed today at lunch.
That's what I heard. So if you need a car wash, go on over there. I have been told, because people love to call me,
Yeah.
and they're like, it doesn't dry the car good.
It's all your fault, Kyle.
It's never
Yeah.
good enough, I swear.
Economic
The car
development
wash is great, but it
building.
doesn't dry. I need to bring my own towel. I'm like, well, then Walmart sells towels.
So it's
So-
a half price of.
I'm selling
20
towels on the.
or 10?
I think it was free.
Yeah, it's saying.
What do you want for
it's
free?
saying
Half
free.
price
They have
of
the free
half.
car wash sign up right now,
Okay.
and I mean, I think every stall was full of napkins,
Yeah.
and there was a line. I thought about driving through, like, oh, free car wash, nope, there was a car queued up, and there was 3 or 4 cars queued
How
out.
funny.
and All the vacuums.
What time-
You don't need to fill up your gas tank after you go, because you're wasting
The
it.
fine print, the car wash is free, but the dry is not.
Yeah.
That's what the issue
The
is.
dry does not come with the complimentary
Yeah.
wash.
So my suggestion, based on feedback, is to bring a couple towels and work that out.
There you go. Or sell some towels at the end.
There you go. So that's most of the stuff I have. I mean, obviously, we're progressing on some other things. We're getting interest from commercial and industrial land. I was just telling the city manager the other day that I was made aware that CB Richard Ellis did an update 2 or 3 months ago
Mhm.
that was talking about our Amazon facility in Beaumont and how that may change our dynamic in terms of land price and rent. So
Really?
just because Amazon's coming here, the current businesses may be able to rent or lease property for more.
Wow.
Because that's the desirability of the area. I can't confirm or deny those rumors, but I do know that CB Richard Ellis was out there telling the development community that those facts exist. And
Interesting.
since then, I've seen a lot more activity within that region. So whether it's true or not, people are definitely looking at the city more.
Generally, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Not really to go into the public comment thing, but the Wolverine sales tax thing was, I'll talk to Ron next time I
Yeah.
see him, but that's been approved, so
Yeah.
there's no falling out or that one.
Right. Actually, that was a really good deal that we got, I thought.
I have a question for you on that. So as far as the distribution centers go, how does the city receive, like, you have a sales tax, how does that work? Because it's not retail, right?
Sure. So those things, it has to be considered a point of sale facility, and it needs to be sold in California. So if we could use Wolverine for an example, if they sell a pair of boots to one of the college students I was talking to earlier in Arkansas, it's going to come from this facility because all Wolverine boots, I don't want to say all, but what I've been told is all of their boots now are in this facility. All of their Harley Davidson boots they supply the United States are in this facility. And I think it was Merrill, the hiking stuff. I think all Merrill is here.
Wow.
So if we were to buy one of those brands and it comes to our house, like if you go on Wolverine.com and order it, we'll get the sales tax because it'll be reported locally here. If they sell it somewhere else, like Arkansas, it's going to go, they'll still charge the sales tax. It's going to go to the state and then through the county pool system. And then we get a per capita share of that, but not the same, the 1% share that we would have got if it was local. But if we buy, so if we buy another one of their brands, like Sperry, that's in Michigan, and it comes here, it goes to the pool. So it's only the items that are in the facility that get sold in California that come to this local
So the
thing.
same thing would go for Amazon. I have no idea what they're storing.
Amazon's different. So they're a unique business that doesn't operate in California,
So you don't see any sales tax from Amazon?
only from the pool. They're one of the largest contributors to the pool because they sell things through Amazon in Seattle.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where their point of sale is. So everything, whether it comes from this building or not, goes into the pool. Just because of their organizational structure. They could change it, but since they've already done this for so long, I don't see them changing it to get more, say, sales tax at a local level. But like Wayfair in Paris does phenomenal for them because they sell a lot of products out of that facility in California. So it's a high revenue generator for that city. So that's what we hope to encourage, are those types of things, or manufacturers. But with manufacturing comes utility demands. And if you have adequate sewer service or adequate water, it's easy. But if you don't, then you could be that's why I asked him what kind of glass, because I was meeting with an individual on auto glass.
Yeah, no, he likes the
And
artisan stuff.
any glass requires a lot of water. So if you're in an area that's deficient on water like we are, it's really hard to attract a business that's going to be making glass, or the other one was solar panels here, because the cost of that water in Beaumont is so high. They're not going to come because of that commodity or the lack thereof. They'll simply go somewhere else. And I mean, if you put yourself in their position, you would do the same thing. It just doesn't make financial sense to do that. So glass is a nice one. We've been talked to by a couple of glass companies or solar panel manufacturer, but when it came down to the brass tacks of, do we have the water available within the region for it? The answer was no, or yes, but at a certain price, and that price was too high.
Okay.
So that's the trick with manufacturing. Same with like the CJ Foods that's manufacturing the Korean food soon, that goes into a Costco, uses a lot of water and a lot of sewer.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments?
No.
Well, I thank everyone of you that showed up. I appreciate your time and energy, and we'll just go ahead and call this as due to a lack of quorum. Thank you all.